Hello there, and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. Today I am documenting these 3 photos of my daughter's 20th birthday celebration. We took her to one of the restaurants that she enjoys, which is called Moxie's. It's a Canadian chain restaurant. If you're Canadian, you might have heard of it. So we went to Moxie's. I have these 2 photos. One is a 4x4 square and 2 are 2x3 inch horizontal photos. I'm looking through the Potpourri collection from Pretty Little Studios. This is several years old now. I think it might be from 2017 or maybe from 2018. All of these supplies were generously sent to me by Pretty Little Studios way back in the day. So thanks to them for sending me these supplies. They were super generous. I already did an unboxing and some process videos using these supplies way back when they were new, but I'm trying to challenge myself to scrap from my stash fairly regularly. So I found these as I was tidying up and rearranging some things, and I decided to use them. The layout before this one on my channel was also using a Pretty Little Studio collection. It was the Here Comes the Sun collection, which is actually really similar to this one. This one has more oranges and warms, and the Here Comes the Sun is a lot more summery. This one has a bit of a fall feeling to it. I chose this collection for these photos because there's quite a lot of that warm orangey wood tone in the various photos. And then there's also a grayish blue in there as well. And both of those colors show up in this potpourri collection. I'm just familiarizing myself here with what comes in this kit. As you can see, there are a lot of items in these kits. It's really nice that you can kind of mix and match and buy the things that you really want to work with. All of the stickers, there's all these die cuts as you can see, but all of the stickers come in either a white backing or a clear sticker, and so that's really great because I know people have their preferences. I like to have some of each, so they generously sent me one of everything, I think, from this collection. So I've got tons and tons of stuff here. Now, back in the day, I don't believe they were making 12 by 12 papers. I hear that they are now. I actually haven't been to their website for a while, but some of my patrons headed over there as I was scrapbooking and told me that they actually do have 12 by 12 papers now, so that's pretty nice. I'm working with these 8 by 8s as my main patterned papers, and then I'm going to put the whole thing on a piece of cardstock that is craft. I love working with craft cardstock. I went through a phase back, well, probably around when this collection first came out, or maybe even older, further along than that. I went through a phase where I did a lot of scrapbooking on craft backgrounds. So it always feels like a bit of a throwback strategy for me, and I do really love the craft. So I'm thinking about making what will end up being like a photo strip here that will hold the 2 photos and also a little chunk for my journaling. I just cut a piece of patterned paper into the same width as the photos so that I can then put the whole thing on a piece of cardstock. And I just want the little white edging around these photos to be the same as the white edging that I have around the square photo. That square photo, by the way, is about 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, not 4 by 4, so it's a little bit smaller. Just to make this journaling piece stand out a little bit from the white matting, I decided to use a neutral color. I think I used Crumb Cake from Stampin' Up! And used a little finger dauber and just inked the edges very gently. So not very heavy-handed at all, just so that you can barely see the edges of where the journaling is going to be. I'm going to do digital journaling today because I do have it already typed up in my notes, and you will see me do that as well. I think I leave it in the process video. I definitely filmed it, so if you are interested in seeing me scrapbook real-time scrapbook layouts and also project life, feel free to head on over to Patreon, where you can support me or even follow me for free, and you will have access to some of the things over there, including occasional live streams I will be providing free live streams to my Patreon followers, even the ones who aren't paid subscribers, so that's something to look forward to in the future as well. So I cut down this chunk of this yellow and orange polka dotted paper. I really love it. It's got these little blue polka dots. I know they look white from here, but when you see the close-ups, you'll be able to see that they're actually a very, very light blue. And I'm basically making this into a grid where everything is going to fit on this yellow piece of cardstock. So I have one rectangle that I still need to fill in, and I think I'm chatting with my tiaras and just thinking about what I might want to put in that space. What I'm actually thinking is that the title will go in that space. I just don't know if it'll go above that big photo or below the big photo. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece of white cardstock down, but this is actually not what I'm going to end up using. I'll cut it down first. It holds the space really nicely. So that's really good. I really like how that looks. It balances quite nicely too with the mostly white in the top and then the mostly white in the bottom as well. But I would rather have a patterned paper. So I'm just about to cut off a chunk of this heart patterned paper when I realized that I think I want one of the smaller scales of this heart patterned paper. And I've got it in a variety of different scales because they used this particular pattern paper on the backgrounds of all of their cards that held the stickers and die cut sheets and stuff. So I found one that was a slightly smaller scale. I wanted one of the really tiny scales, but they were too small. They weren't wide enough to fit my paper here. So I just cut that to exactly the same size that I had the plain white piece of paper. And now that's just a little bit less stark. This layout is going to have lots of these beautiful warm colors, and I didn't want something harsh white there. So I inked the edges of that so that it coordinates with the edges of the journaling piece that I also inked. And now we'll just start gluing things down. So I'm just using my ATG here and gluing the square photo, and then having a little fun with placement here, trying to decide where exactly this is going to go. And I don't really have to decide yet, but I don't know what I'm thinking here, but I'm taking a look at that and saying that could have been used there as well. But I like the hearts there because they're smaller and you're going to be able to see what they are even once my title is there. At this point, I don't really know what my title is going to be, and I also don't know what kind of letters I might use with it. So I'm just going to skip that because I'm having trouble. Whenever I have trouble with an element, I like to just skip it and then see what else. I percolate on the idea while I do some easier things, and then I come back to it. So that's what I'm doing here. Looking at some embellishments, and I'm noticing that there are an awful lot of these speech bubbles. So where we have a table full of people and we were all saying happy birthday to Liv, I thought that this might be a nice way to use up these speech bubbles. I'm not a huge user of speech bubbles. I do like them, but I always struggle to use them. So I think that this is going to be a nice way for me to get some speech bubbles on my page. This page will have a different look to it because there aren't many of those kinds of pages in my boxes of layouts so far. So that'll be good. Having a look through all those tiny little die cuts, and here's my thought. One of those speech bubbles already has birthday, and I thought what I might do is say happy birthday on all of the speech bubbles, so it basically says happy birthday over and over again. And I'm just thinking about how I might want to make happy birthday. Like I could use letter stamps, I could use letter stickers, I could use die cuts. There's a whole bunch of different things I could do. I also like these banners here, these flags. I feel like they would do a good job of holding something, and they seem kind of celebratory. So I've got those over there. And I'm thinking about potentially using these labels. There's just so many of these pretty labels, and they work so beautifully with the colors. I'm thinking about putting labels in these three places to anchor my embellishment clusters. I don't love how the labels look up by the speech bubbles. I think they look kind of weird. And I think the label behind those flags also looks a little weird, but I'm just leaving them there just to hang on to the idea so I can revisit it. It might need maybe a really big circle label right underneath of those flags, for example. I'm having a look at my sentiment stamps from my card making supplies, because I don't actually have a lot of birthday scrapbooking supplies. I did have a little 4x6 kit from Kelly Perky with happy birthday elements in it, but I've used most of that up. So I'm really just looking for happy and birthday in any combination. And as I started to notice, as you saw, I pulled out some dies first, and then I have these stamps as well that also say happy birthday. I was wondering, do these stamps go with these die cuts? But no, they don't. They're different. I was thinking that would actually be super hard to die cut that stamp perfectly. So now that I have all my options out, I'm just having a look at this and thinking about using even more speech bubbles. So I'm pulling out some more and thinking about maybe putting one here. I basically didn't want there to be 4 there. It feels a little bit too, your eye prefers uneven numbers, and it just looked a little bit off with the 4 of them there. So I'm figuring out a way that I might be able to put 5 in there. So I guess I'm just going to hold off on that idea for now and take a look at what options I have for putting happy birthday on some of these balloons. One of them already has the word happy, so I only need the word birthday for that one. And I'm just grabbing, this is a Cuddle Kid, which is the Cuddle Bug, but for kids. And it's like a tiny little version of it. And I have this and love it and have been using it forever, just as my little desktop, easy to grab die cut machine when I don't want to pull over my Ratscog that has my Big Shot on it. So I grabbed a scrap of black cardstock, and I'm just cutting out the word happy and birthday and another happy birthday. So we have that one. And I'm just thinking about how I might be able to combine these. I don't want any of them because I'm going to have to make the birthday that goes with happy will have to be a different font than what happy is. So basically I'm trying to mix and match all of these so that it doesn't look odd that birthday and happy aren't the same font. So I'm going to make all 3 of these speech bubbles have a different font for happy and for birthday. I'm not loving how crowded that looked, so I'm going to keep on thinking about what I might want to put under, what birthday I might want to put under happy. But for now, I'm going to mix and match. I have these 2 sentiments that say happy birthday. I'm going to put one happy with the other birthday and the other birthday with the other happy, if that makes sense. And now I'm going to use my Zig 2-way glue pen in order to put this on. I'm using the fine tip one, which is a ballpoint pen. It's very great for adhering little tiny things in place. And now I'll use the chisel point for this thicker one. I always feel like I want to save my ballpoint one because they're a little bit harder to find, the ballpoint 2-way Zig pens. So I'll use the chisel point. That one is easy to replace, so I'll use that one whenever I can get away with it. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I want this to look a little scrappy, right? Just a little bit messy, doodly, like I didn't think too hard. So I have one more speech bubble that I want to use. I don't know, it's a tiny one, and so none of these dies are going to really fit it. But I have this little stamp set. I think this is from, I forget the name of that company. It's a company I don't have many of their stamps from. But anyhow, it's a card making company, and it says, happy birthday to you. It's tiny, and it's supposed to go in other speech bubbles. So I'm going to use that. I think I'm just going to tidy up my space a little bit first. Oh, I'm talking about how these are just slightly shiny, and I'm not sure if maybe I should be using StazOn or if I can just go ahead and use my regular black ink that I always use, which is VersaFine. And I just took a similar piece of paper with a similar amount of shininess and stamped it on there, and it didn't smudge. So I was all safe. I had the all clear to do it on this. Heffy Doodle, that's the name of the company. I knew it would come to me if I just didn't try too hard. Now I'm going to use that same happy birthday to you, and I'm going to mask off happy and to you so that all that's showing is birthday. Then I'm going to ink it up with that same black ink. I'm going to be very carefully pull these off. Be careful because that ink is wet, and if you get it on your hands, you might get some somewhere. So there's how that looks. I actually really love that. So now we have an assortment of happy birthdays in various fonts on those speech bubbles. And what I've decided to do as I go is I've got basically those 3 that will be up at the top, which will give me an odd number there. And then this smaller one here, the smaller blue one, I'm going to put someplace else, and you'll see where I put it. I'm actually going to put it between these 2 photos because what it will do there is it gives another speech bubble. So repetition, right? Repetition is always good, but it also covers some of the dirty plates on the table that I don't really want to showcase here. And it allows you to focus on just Liv and her cake, which are the 2 things. Now this birthday has a stylized ascender on the T that actually connects to the H, and it looked, the way that the font is, it looked like it said birthday with an F instead of a T. So I just used my scissors to cut off that little curly Q that connected the T to the H, and now it looks like a proper birthday. I'm going to pop these up off of the page using some foam, some fun foam here from the dollar store instead of foam tape. And it takes an extra step to trim that down so that they fit properly, but it's way less expensive than foam tape, so it is a good option. I'm going to stick that little heart on there to fill up a little bit of the space on the happy birthday that's different from the others because it's stamped instead of having die cuts on it. Then I'll piece together a couple of little scraps of the fun foam there to pop that one up as well. So now we have 3 popped up speech bubbles that say happy birthday. Oh, I love that. So cute. I have a little bit of a problem with the speech bubble not pointing in the right direction, but I have to just remind myself that it doesn't have to. It's okay. It only matters if you think it matters, right? And so I had to tell myself, it just doesn't matter. So there you go. I'm going to do the same with this speech bubble so that they all have the same treatment. That helps with the repetition. Speaking of repetition, there will be no repetition of this item. I just liked it because it's blue, and I wanted to spread blue around on the page. We've got the blue in one of the speech bubbles, and then the blue on that little sprig of leaves, and now a blue on the flag here. I love this little snail that shows up in this collection. He's just so darn cute. I can't get enough of him. So I'm going to make my flag posts all disappear in behind the snail. So it looks a little bit like maybe he's holding them or carrying them on his back or something, just covering up where they would go into the ground so that they're not just floating out on the layout. Whenever I have something that has sticks or stakes or something like that, like a vertical element. Even pins, for example, those decorative pins, I like to cover them with something. So that snail does a good job of that, and I think she's just adorable. Next, we're going to talk about the journaling. So I have my journaling on a note on my phone, which also connects to my computer. So it shows up here. And then I also have my word processing app that I use is called Pages. It's like Word, but it's for Macs. And so I have 2 documents on there. I have a 3x4 journaling document and a 3x4 and a 4x6. So I'm using the 3x4 here because I measured and found that it needs to be about 4 inches wide, actually a little bit less than 4 inches wide. So I copied and pasted my journaling from my note to my little pages document, my 3x4 pages document. I just keep that. I also saved it as a template so that if I ever accidentally erase it, I have another one, because it is kind of hard to set your page size to something other than the ones that they're expecting you to use. So yeah. I just Googled how to do that. I couldn't tell you how to do it because I did it so long ago. I printed that up on a 3x4 inch piece of clear sticker paper. I use the Avery sticker paper and it is matte instead of shiny, so I really love that. Had to trim down this branch a little bit because one of the leaves was going to cover up my journaling. So I just cut that leaf off, and then so that it didn't look so obvious that a leaf was cut off, I just added some white around where the cut off leaf would have gone so that it's got a little border around it still. So that the white border around it isn't interrupted, is what I guess I'm trying to say. So I'm going to stick this label in here, and I just want to put a little something on the label, and so I put amazing on there, and I'm going to stick this label in behind the snail. And the snail, really, these labels are really just to anchor my spots of embellishment. The one I put here is called Together, just grabbing these from the word stickers that go with this collection. I'm going to pop up our friend the snail with the same little fun phone scraps that I've been using. So there he goes. And now I do want to attach these flags so that they're just, not perfectly lined up or anything. I want one of them to be popped up above the other. So I'm putting a little piece of that fun foam behind the blue flag as well. And I'm really just gluing down the flags themselves and letting the sticks just go where they go. And then I cover those sticks with the snail. And I just positioned the snail so that you could still see the Together sticker on that label behind it. Added a little heart right there. And then I'll take my roller date stamp and put it to June 2nd, 2025. And I'm going to use gray ink for this, so it's not quite as bold as the other black that's already on the page, and stamp it a couple of times to give it a nice messy look. And that's that. Now we're very close to being done, but not quite. I still have a little bit more black to add to the page, and I of course need my title. So I went over to my Razzcog to grab some letter stickers, some black foam letter stickers. I knew I wanted black foam letter stickers to really balance out with all that heavy black that's up at the top of the layout. And that, because it's black and some of those letters are pretty bold, that it's pretty heavy. So I'm going to need something pretty bold and black down here in my title to offset that and give the page a more balanced look. So I have this Cal Barteschi font from Amy Tangerine. It's a fairly old letter thicker. These are thickers, which are by American Crafts. Love, love, love these. And I think I have 3 sets of them all together. I have 2 little baggies of them. One has 2 sets in one bag, and then the other is its own little set. So 20 years I'm calling this, and then let's grab a hashtag. I was going to put old, 20 years old, and then I thought, no, let's just put hashtag 20 years because I need something in front of the 20. I'm going to mess around with making these look like they just weren't strategically placed. I want to look like I just jotted them down there, even though I'm here placing and replacing and fixing and turning. I'm going to add some of the little splats that are on this set of stickers. I love all the little splattery shapes on these. I'm going to spread them around a couple of places. So I will put those away, and then I'm thinking about what else this page might need, and it needs a couple things more. I do like the balance of the page so far, but it needs a little bit of black splatter, and then it needs one more thing after that. So I'm going to grab my little mixed media tray that I use here. I can't remember which one has black and which one has white. It turns out my white case has black in it and my silver case has white in it. So maybe I need to change those because it seems like the white one should have white paint. So this is heavy body acrylic black paint. In the other one I have white gouache. And I just add a little bit of water to it, and then I pick it up with either a fan brush or the paintbrush that's in the little case, and I do a tiny little bit of splattering, and that looks really great. I love how that looks, actually. I masked with a piece of plastic just to make sure that the splatter didn't get too carried away on me there. And now I have these wood veneer in my stash, a whole set of these. They almost look a little bit like fireworks. And so I thought for a birthday, fireworks is pretty relevant. There's also some asterisks in there, so I'm going to use one asterisk as well, just for a little bit of variety. Love how these look. I'm going to put this, one of my tiaras suggested that I put this one down a little bit, and I agree, it's more balanced over there. So we will be painting them with that same black paint. It is watered down, but it's okay. It's thick enough that it's covering. It's giving me the coverage that I need, so that's fine. So we'll paint that one as well, and we'll paint this little one. And finally, we'll paint these two. My fingertips are getting a little painterly here, but that's okay. There we go. I need one more thing up there, and I thought I'd put this little, it looks like a sparkle. It's like a little diamond. It's actually the inverse of a squircle, which I really just learned about today on a YouTube video that my husband was watching. But the rounded square squircle shape, if you move the handle all the way to the side, it turns into that little sparkly looking shape. I'm going to use my Art Glitter Dries Clear glue. Love this stuff. You can see me really pressing. That's because the pin broke off, like the head of the pin broke off, and it's gotten a little bit dried out and clogged since then. So I need to soak it in hot water. I've actually already done it as of the narration of this video, and my glue is now working smoothly again. Before we jump into the final photos, I just want to give a quick shout out to my amazing Patreon supporters. These folks truly help make this channel happen, so I'm grateful to each and every one of those. Tiaras get early ad-free access to all of my process videos, plus real-time unedited versions, often in the form of live streams. So they also get exclusive behind-the-scenes content to my craft room and my process, along with sneak peeks and a whole bunch of other little perks. So a big thank you to them and to you for watching all the way to the end. Again, I'm MercyTiara, and I love sharing my full creative process with you, including all the little decisions and lessons learned along the way. So be sure to check out the links at the end of this video to dive into my collection of process videos. I have thousands of them, and I've been doing this since 2009, so there's quite a big collection with a variety of different styles and supplies. I hope that you enjoyed this page, and as always, stay tuned for more scrappy inspiration. Until next time, take care and have a really great scrappy week.